1:30 a.m. and the victim was rushed to the Guam Regional Medical City where he was declared dead on arrival. As of news time, no additional information has been released. And a local man charged in Texas with sexually assaulting a victim under the age of 14 appeared in the Superior Court of Guam yesterday for a continued extradition hearing. A warrant of arrest was issued by the governor of Texas against Devin J. Cruz Tainatongo in mid-June after they received reports that he repeatedly touched the victim, beginning when she was 5 or 6 years old, inside and outside of her clothing and touching her private area. Texas authorities were made aware that he had moved to Guam and worked with local authorities to confirm his location prior to executing the warrant of arrest. The court remanded him into custody at the Department of Corrections until he's extradited back to Texas. The government of Guam will have just over $1 billion to spend next fiscal year on operations and obligations. FY23 budget session began today with a presentation by the legislature's Office of Finance and Budget, OFB Director Steve Guerrero.
Since the beginning of FY 2022, revenue collections in the general fund major categories have exceeded projected revenues for the first 9 months of fiscal year. Continuing these trends, year-end projection will have the general fund collecting exceeding FY22 revenue projection at this point by $99.5 million.
The breakdown has general fund revenue at $713.2 million, or about 70% of collections, special funds at $199.6 million, or 19.5%, and federal matching funds at $109.5 million, or about 10.5%. However, Guerrero says the special funds are coming up a little short.
5 are currently tracking below projected revenue collections with a combined projected shortfall of about $8.2 million.
Once senators adopt a revenue projection, they'll go over the proposed spending plan line by line and must submit a budget to the governor by August 31st. And over in the NMI, Patricia B. Aldan is wanted by authorities for forgery and theft amounting to $46,027. Aldan allegedly took that money through a forged check after working temporarily for the Northern Marianas Pacific Minigames, which was hosted on Saipan in June. Another employee reported the alleged payout on August 2nd, according to a local police report. Aldan was a temporary employee for the Minigames and was originally given a check for just $27 for mileage reimbursement. And apparently the signatures by 2 committee members on that check were forged. Police searched for Aldan, and on August 3rd, they confirmed that she fled the island on August 2nd on Jeju Airlines with no final destination on record. The NMI Department of Public Safety urges anyone with information to come forward. The CNMI Crime Stoppers hotline is also open, and you could receive $1,000 for any information leading to an arrest. Their number, that's 670-234-7272. And sticking to regional headlines, the Inflation Reduction Act is being lauded for its sweeping health and environmental impact, including on Guam and in the NMI. President Joe Biden is expected to sign it into law in the next week, which would open up offshore wind development to the region for the very first time.
I think it was Puerto Rico that took the lead on this. And I've been pushing for this, and I think they are, in a more mature position than us here in the Northern Marianas in how to transition from fossil to, in this way, clear energy, and they need to get that ruling out of there.
The Inflation Reduction Act is expected to pass the U.S. House this weekend and make it to President Biden's desk for signing. Sablan says it's a pared-down version of the Build Back Better Act. A key difference, the act removes a rule that banned the renewable developers from wind energy leases in the territories. Eric Melito is the president of the National Ocean Industries Association, representing offshore energy in wind, oil, gas, and carbon sequestration for the past 50 years.
It's actually more of a historical remnant of the way the statute was originally set up. This goes back to the 50s when they first defined what a submerged land is, and it was defined that back at that time to be waters that were off U.S. coastal states, and it didn't include territories, and it just was never changed.
Now that it's changed, the Interior Department will conduct a feasibility study for the territories before any projects break ground.
That's a process that may take 5 years before we get there, but it's with this language in the bill, it's a start. It's a start for the transition from oil, diesel to clean windmill energy. Saipan has what, 45,000 people, if not less. I don't know if there's, a market ready enough to take on this endeavor. But if it is, and the federal government can help, this is where it starts.
Melito says that start requires aggressive government action.
In order to make this happen, it takes a lot of work on behalf of your government to attract it and to kind of make that part of your power generation network. So what we've seen in the Atlantic coast is that those states have taken independent action to require offshore wind within a certain amount of time to be put into their power grid.
The legislative change allowing that to happen, he says, is long overdue.
The legislative authority is critical for the industry to begin looking at areas in places like Guam and other territories to potentially actually make the investments, but also for the territorial governments to begin taking seriously this as an investment opportunity and an opportunity for diversifying the energy in your backyard.
And what could our backyard look like?
When you look at a island like Guam, it could be a relatively simple and straightforward project where you could have floating wind turbines, which it's a new technology, but it's coming along rather quickly. There are projects in Europe that are taking off when it comes to floating wind.
That would require drawing investors and for utility companies to find ways to build infrastructure to tap the wind farms offshore. Still to come on Your News Leader, is the first day of classes for GDOE, and iLearn Academy Charter School held a ribbon-cutting ceremony at their new campus. These stories and more up next.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
I have a tablet. I have no TV. Ooh, TV on Tab. Get live TV on your tablet or any device with DTV Plus from Docomo Pacific. Watch live channels or stream from your favorite apps on any device, all from your home Wi-Fi. No cable lines, no hassle, more savings. All for only $35 a month with your Link Bundle. DTV Plus, your cable TV on Wi-Fi. Ooh, TV on Tab.
Half a day. I'm Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, and I'm proud to report that we have opened a new relief center to help you as we continue to recover from the pandemic.
From healthcare to welfare, childcare, housing, and utilities, we have a wide variety of direct relief programs available to help you.
This central location provides direct access to most of our public assistance programs under one roof. Our friendly staff are ready to help you through the application process.
We are working to ensure you get the assistance you need to receive the relief available to you and your family.
This means more support to help you meet the cost of living and give you more money in your pocket.
We are improving how government is working. Our administration continues to invest in Guam's future, delivering relief and driving our recovery.
Visit the Government of Guam Relief Center at the 3rd floor of the Bank of Hawaii building in Hagåtña, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or call us at 671-475-2060.
During the pandemic, that's the time that I was closed for 1 year. So the payment that me and my daughter we bring home, let's just say $500 a month or $600. My rent is $850. Then I contact the rental assistant. They say that I'm approved. I really so happy. Kiri so tabur, maridi God, kiri so giri God. Ren me de Governor Lou Leon Guerrero and just refer ngeri Arabas ikirai. Reri kei begin arinis. Mi dori Arabas is a money Philippine. Ren took Panabay, any kind of lacility. She really helped us out for the rent. Kiri so tabur. God ebofakuno nomrer. God bless, Governor. Yes.
This ad was paid for by the Department of Administration using federal funds. Subscribe to our KOAM News Digest, our weekly email newsletter with all kinds of information straight to your inbox. Just subscribe and we'll make sure to keep you informed and entertained with news from the KOAM News team, what to watch on NBC and CBS, and the latest promotions from KOAM Communications. Go to KOAM.com, click on the newsletter tab at the top of the homepage, register, and you're all set. Brought to you by Uno Go, Guam on Demand.
Welcome back. A little over 24,000 GDOE students returned to school today for the new school year. Daniel Perez was at one of the public schools to see how the first day of school went. Here's more.
Class is now back in session for 1,000 AT&Ts and high school students as their first day kicked off. The high school wasted no time getting their students acquainted back to the classrooms and socializing with their friends and peers. Assistant Principal Joel Punzalan gave the runaround of how the return to classes went.
Great to see that they're back in school, a lot of happy faces, they're seeing their friends, and we're just ready to rock and roll to get a little bit more sense of normalcy. We're back in operation, so all 1,018 have their schedules. The students that don't have their schedules, we're working on it right now, and there's just a couple of them, so we've had a very, very good smooth run this year so far.
Punzalan said that after experiencing the COVID pandemic, it's good to have the students back on campus interacting with one another, the teachers and the staff.
Just to see the happiness of the kids and to know that face-to-face is the absolute best way for them to learn. I'm excited for this year, and I'm glad I'm going to be happy to see the kids really progress and move forward with their education.
Taking a look into the classrooms, the students look eager and excited to learn from their new teachers. Science teacher Mary Garvillis shared she's teaching 5 classes this year, but added that she wouldn't have it any other way.
If they're going to get anything out of my class, it's who they are, what do they want to be, who are they as productive citizens of our society. I teach science, and so I want them to be logical, reasonable students that can help make solutions for whatever everyday problems that they have.
With the school year just starting, Garvillis already planned out what activities she'll be having the students do.
Lots of hands-on activities. I believe that students different styles of learners, so I try to use as much strategies, whether they're visual, they're tactile, hands-on, kinesthetics kind of learners. But most importantly for me, it's not about getting the answers, but how did you get to your answer, and how did you process and be logical to get to there. So my lessons, a lot of it is what we call STEM, with the engineering design process. I use a lot of lab activities in my science class, and because this is anatomy, they'll be doing a lot of dissections and a lot of creepy, crawly, fun stuff that will just get them going with their mindset and how it applies to real life and how they can learn from it and also teach others.
Daniel Perez reporting for KUAM News.
The home of the Lions, Eilern Academy Charter School held a ribbon-cutting ceremony this morning to celebrate the completion of their new school. The new facility is now located in the village of Dededo, and they're more than happy to finally have a permanent place to teach the future students at that school. Here's the Chief Academic Officer, Rachel Stake.
This truly goes beyond just being a building and being a campus. This really is a home, and it's a family. And it's a place where we are committed to mentoring and speaking life over the future leaders of our island. We're talking about our future engineers, our future lawyers, our future educators, our future governor, our future lieutenant governor, our future legislature. And if today is any indication of the support that those students are going to receive, you guys, our future is looking very bright.
When Eilern first opened up, they had 36 students and a staff of 9. Now that number has grown. Currently, the learning facility now has 740 students and a staff of 51. Public school counselors want clarity on their duties and responsibilities, and they don't want to be distracted with anything that takes them away from helping needy students. That was the focus of a roundtable hearing on a bill by Senator Tilena Nelson to address their concerns.
Among those testifying in support of the measure was University of Guam counseling professor Leilani Guerrero, who said that under American School Counselor Association guidelines, counselors should be spending 80% of their time addressing direct and indirect student services.
The disconnect happens when they get into the school sites because they're tasked with so many inappropriate duties that they can't reach that 80%. As a school counselor for 10 years, I can personally say that all those extra inappropriate school counseling duties definitely took me away from my students.
School counselor David Pexa says because of the lack of a specific job description, over time, things have been added to their plate that take them away from dealing directly with students.
And I think it's really come to a head because we got to the point where we crossed the line where we've been asked to take on a little bit more responsibility when we're dealing with suicidal ideation. Social and emotional wellness has become more of a concern and priority nationally. And that gets into dicey water. Nobody wants to have a child commit suicide and be responsible for that, and because we're distracted with other things.
Bill sponsor Talina Nelson said there has been pushback from school administrators over other aspects in the measure, such as temporary certification. And interim education superintendent Francis Santos met with school counselors to try and iron out their concerns.
I support the intent of the bill. I just ask that, give us the opportunity first from the administrators level to accomplish what you're going to try to do in this bill. And if we can do it, then we really don't need law. There's certain sections I think that should be codified, and I'll address that with our legal team and find which sections will deal best with how to move this process forward.
For KUAM News, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Governor Leon Guerrero signed an executive order into law Monday relative to implementing mask wearing and physical distancing requirements in healthcare settings. The law went into effect Tuesday. All healthcare settings are now required to implement a policy for proper wearing of face masks and where it will not interfere with the provision of care, physical distancing. Face masks are now required waiting areas, hallways, elevators, restrooms, lobbies, and other areas of healthcare facilities. Masks must also be worn at all times by all people in the clinics and hospitals, with certain exemptions for specific individuals, settings, or activities such as while eating or drinking, and regardless of vaccination status, all individuals in a healthcare setting must practice social distancing of at least 6 feet, provided it does not interfere with the provision of care. Hospitals and clinics must also arrange seating so that patients and visitors can maintain at least 6 feet of physical distance. And turning back to regional headlines, the Commonwealth Office of Transit Authority opened the doors to its new CODA administrative and maintenance facility on Saipan. Federal transit partners and local government officials cut the ribbon Monday morning in one of the first federally funded projects to reach completion in recent years. The CNMI Office of the Governor noted that CODA was first established in order to develop a means of public transportation within the NMI. The creation of these buildings make it possible for CODA to further provide accessible, affordable, and quality assistance to those in our community who are in need of transportation, Torres said. CODA reported that in July alone, they served over 1,400 passengers through over 1,700 trips. Stay tuned. Up next, Dave Delgado with your roundup of local sports.
Santa Fe family. Our new McDonald's Spicy Chicken McNuggets are just the right amount of spicy. A small to medium Sprite kind of spicy. Let's get a McFlurry after this kind of spicy. But if you get the mighty hot sauce, it's a napkins for foreheads now kind of spicy. This came from McDonald's kind of spicy? Because our Spicy Chicken McNuggets, breaded in tempura and made with cayenne, are just the right amount of spicy. Unless you remember what I said about the sauce. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hafaday and mabuhay. I am Dennis Rodriguez Jr., a proud Filipino Gomanian who cares about our island and our people. Throughout my years of government service, I have advocated for adequate healthcare, education, and a stronger public safety workforce. I support Lou and Josh, and I'm confident that this team will prioritize the needs of our people like they have done throughout the pandemic. There is more work to be done, and I'm confident that Lou and Josh are the right leaders to move our island forward. Mga kapwa kong Pilipino, maraming pong salamat sa tiwala ninyo sa akin noon senador po ako. Hinihiling ko po uli ang tulong at tiwala ninyo. Sana po iboto ninyo si Lou at Josh para gobernador at vice-gobernador. Sila po ang ating pwedeng tiwalaan. I'm voting for Lou and Josh, and I'm humbly asking my friends and family to vote for them too. I'm all in.
This is Governor Lou
this message.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Professional mixed martial arts fighter JJ Ambrose is back home with a new belt. Ambrose is the super lightweight Hex FC champion after picking up a submission win in Australia.
Yeah, so going into this fight, I always say that I'm in the best shape of my life, but every camp I just get a little bit better at this conditioning thing. I don't think anybody trains like us over at Steel Athletics. And then my meal prep with Fit for You Guam is always, we're always fine-tuning it, trying to make my weight cut a little bit easier. I put on so much more muscle mass for this fight, so I did have to cut a little bit more than normal, but our plan was really straight, and we executed, and I weighed in at 165 on the dot. I was originally scheduled to fight Australian veteran Abel Brights, but unfortunately, due to weight cutting, he had to pull out. So that night, they tapped Hoshi Frederick. My opponent weighed in at 195, but we had a mission, and there was nothing that was going to stop us. Having Hoshi come in last minute kind of threw a wrench in the machine. So I watched what video I could find, and we came up with basically, he's a lot bigger than you. You need to get to the ground as quick as possible. So I did some frame setups and was able to shoot a double leg into the second round. When I got on top, I was doing as much ground and pound as I could. I wanted to make the submission significantly easier. Anytime I've ever just hunted for submissions, it's never gone well. So being able to open people up with punches first makes the submission significantly easier. And that's what we did. I pounded on Hoshi a bit, and then he exposed his neck, and I was able to trap it with a one-arm guillotine. It's such an honor to represent Guam. This island is behind all of its athletes. Anytime I fight, I'll be walking through Payless, and people are coming up to me with a fist pound saying good luck. And you have no idea how much that means to me. Even on my worst days, I'm getting picked up by a person I've never spoken to before. So bringing this belt home, being able to represent the island is such a big blessing for me. The future generations, this belt might be just a trophy to me, but when they see it on the wall, they see that with a lot of hard work and dedication, and obviously a lot of good people in your corner, this is possible. I've been fighting for over 20 years. I know that my days are numbered, the window's closing, but I still got a lot of fight left in me. I would love to take a run in the UFC. I feel like that's where I belong. I would like to close out this chapter of my life with a shot at the UFC. I would appreciate you guys sharing this video, of course, and hopefully with the universe and God on my side, I'm getting that contract real soon.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Hey, can we talk? Okay.
Lunches, snacks, we got diapers for baby girl. Oh, 7:15, we gotta go. Bread, milk, gas for work. Remember to grab Joe Boy a birthday present. Half a day.
Hey, Molly, how much do you pay for daycare for the kids?
Over $600 a month. It's expensive.
Did you hear about the governor's program that covers up to $675 a month for childcare?
Wow, that would be a lifesaver with the rising cost of everything.
Check guamchildcare.com to apply. We qualified. I even booked an appointment for someone to walk me through the process.
GuamChildcare.com. Okay, thanks. I'll apply today.
This ad is paid for with federal funds administered by DPHSS.
A group of firefighters from Anderson Air Force Base completed renovations on a dilapidated bus stop that they recently adopted, just in time for the kids and the brand new school year. Joan Uggan-Charfris has more.
If you happen to be driving through Atticao Road in Laddie Heights, it'll be hard to miss the bus stop that was adopted by Anderson Air Force Base Fire and Emergency Services firefighters, from the bright engine truck red to the Anderson Fire logo. Project Coordinator Lieutenant Kenneth Shoutouts explains how the idea came about.
I've just happened to be in the area sometime this year, and I saw the condition of the bus stop and as well as the kids still utilizing it, so I figured what a way to close the gap between the military personnel and the local community.
He said the project took about a week to finish. About 13 firefighters redid the walls and benches, replaced the roof, painted, and cleared the overgrown vegetation. Shoutouts said the project was an easy sell when pitching it to his fellow co-workers.
They thought it was I wasn't serious until actually showed them the pictures, and man, off the bat, when they noticed that I was serious, they didn't hesitate.
The project would not have been possible without the assistance of some great people.
First of all, the mayor and the vice mayor of Minilao, Home Depot, Bear Paint, Pacific Pressure Washing, and ERC, and as well as the neighborhood for dropping of just awesome drinks or whatever we needed, and also my coworkers and their family as well, because without them, the bus stop wouldn't be here right now.
Reporting for KM News, I'm Joan Uggan-Charfris.
And next on our show, birthday shout-outs, here's Jason Salas.
Happy birthday on this August 10th to Imari Joy Blas, who blows out 3 candles in the year 2022. And happy birthday with many more years to come. Have a blessed day. Your family is sending all their best. You are getting love. Imari Joy from Mama, Papa Blas, Mommy, Daddy, Brother Ashton, Baby Sis Oriane, Nina Nessa, and Bro Noah. And all of us here at KUAM and Cold Stone Creamery, we wish you a happy 3rd birthday. Have a fantastic day.
You can be part of our Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by checking out KUAM.com. That's all we have time for this evening, but before we go, yesterday we had a handful of Korean and Japanese students from Christine's English School stop by and enjoy a station tour.
Hi, we're from Miss Christine's English School. Thank you for watching. Bye.
All right, thanks to those kids. That's our show. Please stay safe.
In Full Zoom is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. and IT&E.